This time on Rad Rat Video, I review my last PlayStation skateboarding game, Rocket Power. It's one of the most broken, terrible games I've ever played, but I'm still pretty happy because I'm almost done, so let's get started. Welcome back to Rad Rat Video, the channel where you can learn something new about skateboarding 3 times a week. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday we take a look at something in the skateboarding world. You can learn tricks, you can learn about your favorite pros, and you can learn about weird old skateboarding games like Rocket Power. Rocket Power was a cartoon that came out a little bit after my time. I'll be 30 in a couple months, so when this show came out I was a little bit too old for it. But I did check it out a couple of times at least. And the one that I really remember was about this group of kids. So if you haven't seen it, it's a group of kids who skate, BMX, inline, snowboard, all that kind of stuff. And the episode was about one of the kids trying to learn the 900 in his backyard ramp. And one of the other kids had a computer simulation that proved it was impossible. And the kid was trying it, and then the neighbor's cutting his grass, and he hits a tennis ball that shoots out and hits the kid and gives him a little bit extra spin, and that's how he lands it. So it's a show that's about skateboarding stuff, which is kind of cool. So in theory, this game has a pretty decent basis to build off of, but it's just really, really badly done. It's terrible. It barely even runs. So we'll have to take a look at that. At this point, I've played every skateboarding game on the PlayStation 1, and I've reviewed at least one per series. I haven't done every single variation of every game, but I have played them all. So this is the last one standing in the way of me doing an overall review of the PlayStation 1 as a skateboarding system. So I'm looking forward to doing this, but as of right now, I have to get this turd out of the way. So let's do it. There's a mild story here. The local skate shop is going out of business, so it's your job to win every competition in the area with them as your sponsor to help draw in business, which is all the story you need, really.
Isn't there anything we can do to help Rocketboard stay in business, Raymundo?
Things are slow, and Snowmark just had their new line featured in Skate and Shred magazine. I'm afraid they're gonna put us out for good this time.
Imagine if you took the team that made Goofy Skateboarding, one of my least favorite games, and had them make a game with skateboarding, snowboarding, BMX, and rollerblading. Stretch them so thin that they don't have time to finish anything. That's basically what we've got here. There's such a lack of polish that this game is tough to play. You start with a snowboard event, ride through the gates and get to the end, that's it. Well, I didn't see one of the gates on my first time, so I ran into one of the biggest and worst design choices in the game. There's no restart. Imagine if you couldn't pause and hit restart in a Tony Hawk game. It's unbelievable. So you lose, hit a load screen, look at a menu, load, then start the event again, and load again. Unless you do everything first try, this is going to be torture. Speaking of torture, next is rollerblading. This was my first inkling at the pain that makes up this game. So my challenge here is to find the parts of my bike for the next challenge. It's timed, and you have to make your way around and pick stuff up, and it's just plain broken. You ride around at 2 miles an hour, and the turning is some of the worst I've ever seen. Just getting from A to B is like playing QWOP with a Rock Band controller. So you're given this level, which is way too big to explore at the speed you go, and you try to find stuff. I found a couple of the pieces pretty easily, and then guess what? Time's up. Back to the loading screen, then to the menu, then loading, then the game again. And I did this probably 30 times. No joke, I could not find all this crap. Eventually I got to a point where I could just get the first few items, but I could never reach this last one. No matter how much speed I got, I couldn't get enough air. There are some of these little icons that give you a speed boost, but none are lined up right to actually help with that. So I figured I should, out of time, let me start over. So I figured I would go around to the roofs and maybe get an angle at it from there, and I was able to get all the way over here and find this part, but no luck with the quarter pipe. Oh, time's up again, hold on. After probably 45 minutes of trying, I just so happened to get enough air and grab it. What did I do different? Nothing, it just somehow worked. But I didn't have enough time to get the rest, so I kept trying, and eventually I managed to get everything. At this point, I was pretty much done with the game. It just simply doesn't work. It has no redeeming qualities at all. But I hadn't reached the skateboarding yet, I still had to beat the BMX. Luckily, this part was pretty easy. They give you a dirt course and a score to reach. The controls are really weird. R1 and L1 are spin, R2 and L2 are flips. You can theoretically do them together to do spinning flips, and this will work on your bike, but not on a skateboard. We'll talk about that in a second. Face buttons will do some different tricks. With no regard to the course layout or anything, you can just keep doing a few tricks and collect some timer icons and beat it. I was shocked that I beat it first try because the last event was so miserable. And finally, we get to skateboarding. This is a real, published video game that was available in stores, and it has more bugs than the first preview build of Session, actually probably more than the first ever build. I just don't even know where to start. How about the grinds? These don't really do anything. You get a few points, but they don't add into your combo at all. They're not worth doing for any reason, and they'll instantly take all of your speed. I feel like I'm grinding on pure rust when I try them. The best way to get points is in the ramps, and that's all I'm supposed to be doing here. Remember how you can do flips and spins on your bike? Well, you sort of can here, but watch what happens. Yeah, this actually happens pretty often. And when there isn't an obvious glitch, the trick is still usually not even landable. It's like you can do 3/4 of a flip and then you just stop. So you're racking up some big totals here, but you're not actually making progress because you can't roll away. And the score requirement is stupidly high, 50,000 points. As much as I tried, I couldn't get to that number, and it's because none of the tricks really work. The game pretty much demands you land everything sideways and bail, and you have to hear the kids scream in pain every time. Let's say you want to do a flip. Roll up a ramp straight, hold R1, and what happens? You land sideways. It's like your character is doing a frontside air but stops spinning as soon as the flip starts. You just can't do one without carefully spinning a little bit at the last second. But even spinning is basically impossible. If you spin until you're straight and then let go, you always do a little bit extra and land sideways. It feels like you snap to being sideways and you have to make a ton of effort to roll away from anything. With a lot of practice and a lot of luck, you might be able to land some tricks. That's when you'll notice that landing fakie robs you of most of your speed. Why would they do that? Why make your character have to turn around? Is it too much work to mirror all the animations and have Switch available? You don't even have to make it a thing and give it more points or anything. Just don't penalize me for doing a 720 to fakie. Anyway, after a couple of dozen tries and probably 100 loading screens, I got really lucky. I glitched out and got stuck in the air, so I did a bunch of tricks until I passed 50,000. I didn't want to get too greedy, so as soon as I passed it comfortably, I tried to maneuver around until I landed it, and it worked, finally. So that's skateboarding. The next event is... Wait, what? I needed 143,000 points? Why wouldn't they tell me that? So that's all I had for this game. It is just so broken and glitchy and stupidly difficult that I had no fun playing it whatsoever. And there's no reason to continue. There's nothing that I'll find later in the game that'll redeem it. It's just terrible. And a game this bad, usually I'll just tell you to ignore it and leave it on the shelf if you see it. But this time, I want you to do something a little bit different. If you see this game at a game store or something, buy it and just scratch it up, throw it in a fire, get rid of it somehow. Try to save the world from people accidentally playing this game. It is terrible. In fact, if you know how to hack, get onto ROM websites and delete the files off of it. Just help me kill this game so that no one ever has to play it again. It is seriously the worst thing I've done on this channel, and I've been doing nothing but playing terrible games for the past few months. So that really means something because I've got a lot of experience with crap at this point. So ignore this one, get rid of it, kill it, whatever, but just don't ever play it, even with a gun to your head. Just let them shoot you. All right, so that's it for this time. I got a lot more videos here you can check out, a lot of other game reviews, plenty of other stuff in the skateboarding realm that you can check out. Make sure you subscribe by tapping my logo on screen right here in the middle. And that's it for now. I'll see you next time.